I want to give out this disclaimer. Scholarship is not free money. Very, very essential document that you need is letter of recommendation. And I always advise people, please build, if you are still in school, please build relationship with your faculty, your lecturers. They are the ones that will write recommendation letter for you. But you can call your faculty by their first name, like, oh, excuse me, Mr. Bright. Like, I'm like, from where I'm coming from, you call somebody by their first name, you will go home. They will do village meeting on your head. But guess what? People are using their laptop to be tapping. I say, yeah, I know sabi type, oh, I know sabi type. Like lecturer is talking and people are doing I'm like, yeah? No, wow, that's all that they do for you. You don't even want to do they ask you a question like where are you going to oh, you do that there.
So I have on the house Chidinma Favour Udechukwu, who is a second-year master student in Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies at the University of Cincinnati. She's also a graduate assistant at the University of Cincinnati Women's Center, and she's the president of the Women's Gender Sexuality Students Organization. She's a representative in the graduate student government. Our research focuses on the intersections of migration, motherhood, childcare, and identity, with a particular emphasis on the life experience of Nigerian immigrant mothers in the United States. She has a strong background in program coordination and community engagement. Chidinma has worked on initiative addressing gender equity, social justice, and community resilience, such as organizations like YWCA, Greater Cincinnati. Our current research work explores the changing dynamics of motherhood for Nigerian immigrant mothers in Cincinnati in navigating childcare. Chidinma is passionate about amplifying marginalized voices and fostering inclusive narratives in academic and community spaces. Please make welcome to our Miss today, Chidinma Favour Udechukwu. Thank you, Chidinma. Can you hear us? Can you please?
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're coming from. Thank you so much, Izu, for the introduction. It's really a great pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to sharing my experience and making sure that it helps everyone on this space. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chidi. We sincerely appreciate you. Can you tell us about your admission? How was it? What was the experience like? How you got to Cincinnati, and then your scholarship journey? Just bring all of this in one box. What was your admission journey like, so that we can have a clue for those that also want to apply? Because a lot of people reach out to us, okay, I want to gain admission in this school. So tell us your experience and what was it like for you? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Well, it's one of the things I'm going to say is that graduate school program generally, it's not something that is done in a day. It's a preparation. You know, the way people prepare to write exams, you know, you go to school and things like that. It's a preparation, and it comes with a lot of planning, a lot of research, and a lot of intentionality, because most of the journey, like most of the things you're going to be doing on the way, you have to do them yourself. People can guide you, people can tell you, oh, this is the best way to do it, but every bulk of it kind of still falls on you, like the responsibility. I think that's a better word. The responsibility still falls on you to do everything. So I'll say my own journey was one, I was privileged to be mentored by the right set of mentors, and I mean mentors from undergrads in my school. So I went to University of Nigeria, Nsukka. For those in Nigeria, you know where I'm talking about. And I was privileged to have mentors who were intentional about my growth, who were actually interested in seeing that I get the best education beyond undergraduate level. Then I also had friends, quote and unquote. When I mean friends, I mean seniors that had graduated and had gone through the same route. So I made friends with them. So while like, for example, when I was in second year, the best graduating student in my department, who's also in the US, I connected with them when they traveled out. I built that relationship with them. So when it was time for me to begin to start the process, and when I mean start the process, I started the process, I would say I started the process intentionally like 2 years thereabout before I came to the US. So even while I was in undergrad, I had an idea of, I want to do a graduate program. I want to travel abroad for my graduate program. But I started working intentionally towards that just right after I graduated from undergrad. And between the period I graduated from undergrad in 2021 and when I traveled, it's like 2 years. So you can see how long it took me to prepare for this journey. So yeah, it was one of mentorship, researching on my own, obviously reaching out to people, and obviously most importantly, I would say the grace of God, because there's a lot of story around the whole traveling thing. And so that's it in a small box before we get dive into like more specific questions.
All right, thank you so much. That was really brief, and I really appreciate you to make that clear while we still dive into all the information. All right, so what were the setbacks you faced while applying to a school like University of Cincinnati? What was your experience? So what were the things, the setback, the challenge, if there was actually any? So can you tell us about that a bit?
Okay, so when it comes to challenge, and I would say there were challenges. I'm going to be really very sincere. And so there were major challenges and there were minor challenges. So let me start from the minor challenges to build up from there. So one of the minor challenges was the fact that just right after I graduated, I misplaced my laptop. And when I tell people this story, they're like, how did you do it? All through my application period, I was using my phone. It was that bad. I didn't have a laptop when I started, when I was like ready to like start the whole process. For like 1 year plus, I didn't have a laptop for more than a year. And that was when I was doing my application. So that's why I said the bulk of the work has to do with you. So for example, I could have said, I don't have a laptop. Let me just leave it to whenever I get a laptop. I might never have gotten a laptop because I got my laptop a day before I left the US. Left for the US. That's the truth. So that's a minor challenge, laptop, because obviously you're doing a lot of research, searching for schools. If I'm not mistaken, there are more than 4,000 universities in the US. The US is one of the countries that has a lot of universities. So there are over like more than 4,000 universities in the US, and you have to search. Obviously, you're not going to search for the 4,000, obviously, but you're going to search a good number because you're specific about the program, the school, the faculty, and a lot of other things that concerns choosing a school, which we'll definitely go into. So yeah, the first one was minor challenge. I had issues with laptop and obviously network issues. You know how it can always be, but I was really very resilient because I knew I had a vision in front of me and I really wanted to pursue. I think another a challenge I had was discipline. It's not easy to sit for hours and hours on your laptop. For example, I am myopic. I don't see far, so I'm always on my glasses and things like that. It can be very strenuous staying on the system for a very long time. So the discipline sometimes wasn't there, and so which was also a major challenge too. In order to search for schools, because you have to search for schools that fit your profile, which we'll definitely get into later. And I think one of the major challenge I faced was it wasn't a major challenge for me, but it's a major challenge in general. So I have to put it out there. And one of it is finances. Graduate school application is very financially demanding, and I'm going to be as sincere and plain to everybody. I'm not going to come here and say, oh, you got it all. Finances is, they say in Africa, you spend money to get money. That's it. So a major challenge, I didn't face it directly, but I'm going to put it out there because I know it's a major challenge. And over the years, I've mentored people who are now in the US and people that are still going to be coming to the US very soon by August this year. And one of the things I tell them is plan ahead, begin to save money, begin to save money towards your graduate application process. It is not cheap. The least application fee someone can pay might be maybe $40, $45. That is like the least. But we have schools that charge over like $100, $90, $75. And if you do the conversion to maybe so you can do the conversion for me. If you do the conversion to, for example, Nigerian note or any other African country, you will know that that is not a small money. So a major challenge is finances. That major in a school that fits your ideal project, your ideal research. So like I said, there are over 4,000 schools in the US and counting. Trust me, you can't go through all of them. So the difficulty of finding a school that fits your profile, such as your program, the faculty you're going to work with, the research interest, and also if you as an international student coming from anywhere around the world fit into the profile of that school, that is a major challenge. And I've seen people say, and I think that is that is the hardest part of the application period and process, finding a school that really fits, because it is not easy. You have to also a major challenge. And I think another major challenge I faced was actually preparing my application materials. This is like this. If I'm going to rank it, apart from searching for the school, finances, I think this is actually going to be the third one. You prepare your application materials. I've had people say, oh, they want to apply, but they're having issues getting their transcript from their undergrad program, which I know is a challenge for a lot of people, depending on where you're coming from the world. Well, I didn't face that challenge because I like I said, I stayed on time. I said 2 years prior before I even came to the US. But I know a lot of people have challenges with preparing the application material, which includes things like transcript, your statement of purpose, your writing sample, and some other people have to write GRE. For example, people in the sciences and the social sciences. Then obviously, people also write IELTS exam, the TOEFL exam, which is the English proficiency. I wrote the IELTS before I came. So I think it's like the major challenges, and obviously there are other general challenges, which is finding mentorship, people that would guide you and things like that, which was also a major challenge, but I didn't face it. But I know I'm making sure that I'm touching the points, whether they've directly affected me or not. But these are the challenges altogether that affects people in the graduate application process. So thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Chidi, you really highlighted a lot of things. You mentioned finance, you mentioned application materials, getting your application material ready, prepared, and then finding a school. I think that's a very important one. So that will lead me to my next question to you. How many schools did you apply to, or was it just this one school and that was the end? Was it where you just put your head? So tell us, because we would like to know, was it 2, 3, 20 schools? Let's hear from you.
I'm going to be as real as possible. In this whole application period, you cannot apply to one school, even if you are smarter than Musk, even if you are first class over first class, you can't apply to just one schools. And there are reasons for that. First reason is the fact that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people applying from around the world. So I'm going to share this information. So my department currently, where I am in, we just finished the admission process for the new people that will be coming in August. And as the president of my department, I was privileged to be in that admission committee. And I can tell you the amount of people that applied to my department for just a very few slots that can be fit into one palm of my hand. That is to tell you how competitive it is. So you can't apply to one school. I'm so sorry. I know a lot of people tell me, oh, I think I found the perfect school. I'm so sorry. Your perfect school will break your heart. So moving back to my own experience, I applied to 9 universities generally, but 7 were in the US and while 2 were European countries. Yeah, so there was a particular like scholarship that I applied to among the like European countries specifically. So, but for my US schools, I applied to 7. And I feel that was really small because I could have done more, but I had some restraint, which was one of it was getting a school that fits into my research purpose. So I applied to 9 schools generally, but 7 were specifically to the United States. So that is me applying to 9 schools. I know people that have applied to 15 schools, 12 schools, 20 schools. That is how intentional, because and the reason why they say do that pool of schools obviously that fits into your profile is because the competition is really high and you're competing with the best of the best of the best. And I mean not just from Nigeria, not just from Africa, but the Southeast Asian people are, see, they are so strong in the pool. The Indians, the Pakistan, call them, they are in the pool. Let's not even talk about people from European countries that are also trying to come to school. So, and that is excluding the indigenous citizens of US who are also competing for that same space and that same sport you're trying to get. So the competition is really tough. And it gets tough by the day, and that is good. I'm going to say, because I was privileged to be in an admission committee that will be selected, that just selected the new people that will come. And I can tell you that we even had to reject candidates that were good, but they were people that were good, better, best, like they say, and things like that. So I applied to 9 schools in total. So I always encourage people. I think the least anybody can do, like I said, finances can be a problem, but at least 7 schools is ideal. But if you can do more, I always approve people to do more. And another good reason for doing more is because it gives you the liberty to like choose between schools. So for example, I applied to 7 US schools and I got admitted into 3. But I went for the one that gave me the best of the best of the best funding and scholarship. So you see that it even gives you an advantage when it comes to choosing. So you're not the one telling them, I can't come to your school. Don't worry. It's fine. Thank you so much for admitting me. I have a better offer. So apart from the competition generally in the admission process, it also gives you the liberty to choose and go to your preferred school where you have the preferential treatment. Well, I had some preferential treatment when I got to my school, because of the packages that came with. Yeah, so that's it basically.
All right, thank you so much. That was a very valid point, and sincerely appreciate you for sharing us that feedback. And then you mentioned something about, and so I want to bring you there. Were you looking for school that has scholarship only, or you intended to, okay, if I gain this admission, I'm also going to look for loan? What was it like for you? Can you put us in that perspective? Is it just scholarship, or, okay, if I get this admission, I will still go for loan? Were you having that in mind? So what is it? Or are you even looking for partial scholarship or full scholarship? So what was it?
Well, I'll be sincere. I was looking for full scholarship. I didn't know where I was going to get the other money if I didn't come with scholarship. So that also boils down to what I said initially about picking your schools. So you need to search and search and search. The US, like we all know, is one of the countries that fund education generally, and like they say, that's where the money is. So why go there? But even within the US, there are schools that have that are really intentional about funding. So if we go to the website, there's a US website. It's called where it gives the ranking of schools. So there are run schools. These are like the top of the top schools that are good with research, schools that are funded by either government, federal, different kind of funding. So it means those kind of schools, they are so focused on education. You either open your head and put it inside, or you open your head and put it inside, because the resources are there. And there are also R2 schools. So like I said, they are ranking in schools in the US. So there are R1, which is like the best of the best of the best. And it's not just Harvard or Yale or Duke University. They are good schools that are still within the R1 university, because they are research based, they are research intensive, and they have a lot of funding. Then there are R2 schools which are they're just there, not so strong in research, but they are also good schools. don't have the best of the funding, but they have funding. So for me, I was very sincere to myself. I didn't have anybody that would sponsor me. I wasn't ready to take a loan because I have seen success stories of people that have gotten it and still getting it. So why would I want to exempt myself from that? But if you're rich, you have the finances, you've worked over the years, 10, 15 years, and you have some money saved up, fine, you can try both options. You can look for full funding, you can look for partial funding. But to be sincere, I will not really advise anyone to come without any form for financial aid to the US because of the restriction on your visa status as a student and things like that. But I think we can go, that will be a separate question I can really go and dive into. But yes, I was very intentional. I looked for a school that had only full funding. I'm so sorry. Like, and a lot of schools I did not apply to were either because I didn't have one or two requirements that they wanted, and I think I couldn't get it within the short period of time, or I didn't see the department as fit for me or for my research. Then lastly, and which was more importantly, I was very open about asking, do you guys have funding for international students? What is the selection of international students every year? Do you guys fund international students? What is the funding like? Is it 70%? Is it 50%? Is it 100%? I was very intentional about asking those questions. So schools that reached out to me and be like, oh, we don't really take international students, or oh, we don't really fund international students, or oh, we only give 70% for it. I dropped them because I didn't have the money. I didn't know where it was going to come from. And I didn't want to take loan at that point. As much as I think the reason was because I didn't know so much about how student loan works. And I was like, I think I didn't want to like put myself into what I wasn't sure of. And besides, I can get it. I've seen people get it. So why would I want to opt out for, a lower version of what I've seen people get? And so I think that was just it for me.
All right. Thank you for that very valid point. You really answered so well. Now, I want you to merge these two questions together. You mentioned something about the school. You were intentional about it, especially for full funded scholarship. And you asked a valid question. That means you were even prepared for what you want. So the question now is, the schools you looked out for, do they have tuition deposit? And if they had, did you pay them? Or what did you do? Because we usually get that question from our back end here. Tuition, schools that have tuition deposit, how can we help pay for that? What was it for you? Were you looking out for those schools or schools that were waiving it off? And secondly, you talked about, I asked you a question on loan. Do you have people, probably you didn't take loan, were there people or people you know now that took loan? And how is it for them? Is that an issue for them, taking a loan? So please merge these two questions together so that we quickly move. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So about the schools, I think it varies. So I didn't have any school that asked me. I mean, among the three schools I got into, I didn't have any of them ask me for a deposit because it was fully funded. So I know there are schools that ask people for initial deposits. I don't really have too much information about that, but I know there are schools. I think I had a friend last year who got admitted into one school, but they were still back and forth between admission, like funding. I mean, she was given admission already, and she was asked to put up like an initial deposit. Initially, I was hesitant about her putting up the initial deposit because your funding was not yet guaranteed. It was to a maybe, maybe not. And unfortunately for her, she put in the initial deposit and didn't get the funding at the end of the day. So because of how much the whole tuition thing was like, was a lot for her. She finally had to drop it. So and that is why I really encourage people to ask questions before applying to a school. And when I mean ask questions, I mean reaching out to the program coordinator. They're called different names depending on the schools. It can be called director of graduate program or program coordinator of the department, obviously. So I always encourage people to ask questions because some of these things might not really be put in the department's website. So I always encourage people, ask questions before you apply to school. Questions like, this is my experience, this is my research, this is where I'm coming from. Do I fit into the ideal candidate of the school? And trust me, the director of programs is always your best bet into any school. And I say it because the school I finally had to come, I was in communications with her, that even when we came here, even to now, we have a very cordial relationship, because even before coming, I built a very strong relationship. I was bombarding her with questions. I know she was tired of me, but I needed to ask the right question. You guys, do I fit into an ideal candidate? Does my experience, my work experience, my research interest, my undergraduate, because for example, I switched program. I did history and international studies in my undergrad, and now I'm doing women and gender studies. Those are two different programs. But how I was able to see how I can put my experience and everything to fit into that program. Then I also asked for funding. International student funding, is the funding full? Is it full funding, or is it partial funding? Or what are the funding options for people? So I asked these questions, and I think that actually also influenced the schools I actually applied to. So none of the schools I got admitted into asked me for initial deposit. And I think it actually just varies among school, but I always advise to ask questions. And before you put in that initial deposit, please make sure you are really going to the school. And when I mean make sure you're going to, I mean make sure that you have either a funding, or you're just sure you're going to the school. If you're depending for funding to go to the school and you haven't gotten the funding yet, I will say hold on first and clear that out. And I think I also have my own part of the story, because I would say when I got admission into my current school, I didn't get funding immediately. But that's a story I can talk about later. So to your last question about loan. So I didn't take loan personally, but I have friends that took loan, and the loan varied. And for people, some people it was 30% loan out of the full tuition you need to pay. For example, people that had 70% scholarship took loan of that will complete the remaining. So it just depends. It really depends. There are people that have come to the US or came to the US without funding. I will say it is not easy, but it's possible.
Okay.
I would be very honest. It's not easy, meaning that it can be really challenging, because you see your fellow students being paid stipend every month, but you're not being paid stipend. So it means that you have to work extra, or you have to do things beyond what your fellow students are doing to get extra money, except maybe you have a family that is sponsoring you, or except to take loans. So for example, people take loan and they come here, and obviously they are sorted out. Then obviously loan companies or people that give loan have an agreement with them, okay, after your studies, between a certain period of time after your studies, you can begin to pay. So there are different payment plan for different loan and people that take loan. But I would say it can be very strenuous, trust me, especially thinking about, you have a loan to pay after graduation, and so you begin to think about, okay, how can I begin to prepare myself to pay loan? But trust me, loan is not bad, because I'm going to say even people in the US take loan to go to school. So who are you? People in the US take loan to go to school. It's not free. It's not free. So I know if you're on Twitter or you're on Thread, you see people say, I think from January last month, a lot of people were like, I've been cleared of my student debt. I've been cleared of my student loan. People were rejoicing that, their student loan was clear. These are Americans. These are people that are in the US and are citizens, or even if they're not citizens, they are students that have accumulated debt all all through their years of going to school, but the government are forgiving their loan, and now they are debt free and they are enjoying their life. So taking loan is very possible, but there are just some things around it that you need to be sure that if this is really what you want to do. So people take loan, people come to the US with loan, and in short, I've seen people that have cleared their loan in a very short period of time, obviously because they were able to navigate it very well.
Thank you so much. Really, you are taking my question, so I wouldn't need to go back to a lot of the questions because you're already answering the things I want to ask you. In fact, you're giving me brilliant answers and straight to it. So very quickly, I want you to help us answer this quickly. Tell us a bit about what people can expect from visa interview using your experience. For visa interviews, what was it for you, and what should people experience? You may not tell us what you got there, but just share with us what people should expect. So that someone who wants to apply to school, that's where the box stops. You can do everything, and at the visa box junction is another world altogether. So what should we expect? What should the next person listening to you expect so that they can get prepared for situations like this? Thank you.
that visa process itself was a testimony in its own. So I would say, first of all, you have to prepare. You really have to prepare. I don't want to sound religious, but if you can pray. But let's just keep that one aside. But you need to really prepare. You really need to prepare. And what I mean by prepare, a lot of people are excited when they get the admission. But trust me, that's just the first phase of the final phase. So the admission process is the initial stage. The middle stage is getting the admission. Then the final phase is getting the visa approved. And I think a lot of people get so excited about getting the admission and they forget that they need to also prepare for the visa interview. And I'm going to be as very sincere as possible. With good preparation, you can scale your visa interview. So when I mean by preparation, there are a lot of mock groups in Nigeria. So when I say mock group, I mean it's just a group, just like WhatsApp group. People join the way we have class WhatsApp group, but this group is specifically to prepare you for your visa interview. Because I've seen someone say, oh, they got admission, they did the whole process, went to the embassy, and they asked them some questions, and even with their full funding, I've seen people that even with their full funding, they were rejected at the embassy. And I've also seen people that with partial funding and no funding, they have been given visa. The difference is just preparation and obviously the G factor for those that have it and things like that. So I would say you have to prepare. And when I mean preparation, preparing your documents. So there are definitely processes. You need to pay for service fee. You need to pay for visa fee. You need to get a visa date. That I know those are processes that can be very, very tedious. But for the visa interview in itself, there are two things I always advise people. Make sure that your document is called DS-160. It's like, a document, just like the way you're applying to school, the way they screen your material, DS-160 is also like that. Make sure that your DS-160 is reviewed by a professional. And when I mean a professional, I mean someone that has a success story with visa application. Because a lot of people just give random people, say, check my DS-160 and that's it. And one part of your DS-160, or two parts I want to talk about in DS-160 that is very essential, is what you're doing and your work experience over time. So, for example, they're going to ask you, like, what do you do? You can't just say, I work in a bank. For example, let me use someone that is going for an MBA. And you're filling your form and they ask you, what do you do? You just say, I'm working in a bank, and you put full stop. That's where your visa interview stop for you because you are going back home. You have to give detailed information. So like I shared in one of my YouTube videos, I said your DS-160 is the mirror they see before they see you. So your DS-160 speaks about, so even before they see you, even before they begin to ask you questions, they've profiled who you are. They've profiled your educational trajectory. They've profiled your work experience. They've profiled your family, because they will ask you, do you have family in the US? Things like that. They've profiled you even before asking you questions. So you want to make sure that what they are seeing already, you sure they even go as far as asking for your social media link. So for me, I use my LinkedIn because my LinkedIn is more professional. Some people put their Facebook, which I feel is not professional, except you use Facebook professionally. Or for example Instagram, but I use my LinkedIn, and I made sure that my LinkedIn was very professional. I talked about my work experience, my education trajectory as the best graduating student. I had a 4.1 CGPA. I've been doing a lot of volunteering work for non-governmental organizations across Nigeria and things like that. I made sure it was consistent with my profile and also in line with what I was going to do. That is one of the, like, I really have a video where I really shared that on my YouTube page. So feeling your responsibility is important. Then the second one is preparation, which is where you have to build that confidence. People are different. We have different personalities. Some people are shy. Some people are very timid. Some people are they are not just the public space kind of person. Well, fortunately for me, I'm very extroverted. I can speak to the camera. I can speak to anybody at any time. I'm very confident. So, but the truth is, even with your confidence, you are meeting somebody that can, in 2 minutes, can determine the trajectory of your life. So you do not want to miss it. You don't even want to do they ask you a question like, where are you going to you do that there. So that's why the mock interview is very essential, because it builds your confidence, it builds your eye contact, because you have to have an eye contact with this person. I know people, for example, that my visa interview was the first time I was having a this close interview or a contact with a white person. So you can imagine how frightening it can be, because this person can determine your next phase of your life. So the reason why I always advise people to join mock groups, and if you want to join a mock group, I have a mock group that you can join, and trust me, they don't charge people there. I'm not in charge of the group, but these are groups that have helped me, during that period. But if people want to join, I always advise that, reach out to me. I can always give you that. So what happens in this mock interview, that they ask you questions like you are in the visa. So that helps you build your confidence. Also, there are questions you need to know. Questions like what do you do? Why are you going to the US? Why did you choose this school? What will you be doing after your program? These are things that you need to have prepared. And I had a visa transcript which I used in preparation, because I had all of these questions over time. And because I had over like 2 months to prepare for my interview, and I was doing mock interviews almost every week. By the time, in my sleep, if you ask me questions like for my transcript, I can say it even in my sleep, because I had internalized it. It had become so part of me that I was used to it. In short, I can be going on the road and I'm asking myself questions and answering myself, why are you here? I'm here for my F1 visa interview that will enable me to go to the United States to do my master's. I got so used to it because of the intensity of the mock group. So these are like 2 things I tell people: prepare your DS-160 very well, because it's the thing they see even before they see you. Then most importantly, prepare, join mock interviews, let people drill you. It's better they drill you now in normal WhatsApp video call than you go there and they tell you, it can be very devastating. But I've also seen people that they were told, denied initially, went back and came back, and they were given a visa approved. So yeah, so those are like my 2 cents, because that is a very, very crucial part of the whole process.
Thank you so much. I mean, that feedback was very necessary you shared with us, and I think people are listening to take cue of what you were saying. So I want to quickly say this while we begin to wrap up this segment, because you're already saying a lot of things and you're already ticking my questions, so I don't need to repeat it again since you've answered them. So I'll ask this question while I wait for people to leave their message. So since you came to your school, can you tell us some of the cultural or academic adjustments you made while you were in school? And how did you quickly adapt, knowing where you're coming from and now meeting a new environment? Share with us how you met a white man interviewing for the first time that could decide your fate, and now you moved to another country for the first time. And then how did you adapt culturally and academically? What was it like for you quickly? While I received some questions to ask you from people. Yeah.
Okay, so cultural shock is normal. Everyone experience that, even within your country, travel from state to state, their cultural shock. But I think I want to start with the academic cultural shock. from where I'm coming from in Nigeria, I know how the system is, and a lot of people from Nigeria or from other African countries, we know how the system is. It's intense, so yes, don't get me wrong, it's intense, but you can always find your way around it, things like that. But one of the things, cultural shock for me, is the weekly assignments. Lord, my God, it was a cultural shock for me. I was like, why would I be doing assignments every week? Like every week, it was really very intense. I think the first few weeks, or would I say, when I do assignments every week, that was a real cultural shock, because from where I'm coming from, we do assignments, yes, we do assignment, but it wasn't an every week thing, to the best of my knowledge. So that was one cultural shock. Another cultural shock I think I had academically is the setting of tells you, oh, good morning class, good afternoon class, we're talking about statistics today. What is that? They're telling you, they're teaching you, I think that's the word. They're teaching you, they're coaching you, they're giving you the knowledge that you need, because you are there to learn, right? But at the graduate level, and obviously in the US generally, it's a different thing, meaning that everybody in that class is the lecturer, everybody is the professor, everybody is the everything, is the knowledge production, whatever. So it means that you have to come to class prepared. So before the semester resumes, there's a site we have, it's called Canva. Your courses and everything, your documents are uploaded there. So there's materials that are uploaded there already. Excuse me. Why there are some that you have to either go to the library or search for soft copies online. But the truth is, most of the time, all your materials are there. So it means that before you're coming to class, you should have read, you are expected to have read everything, come up with discussion questions or things that interested you, or things that you didn't agree, or things you want to just counter in class. So you're coming to class not to come and listen, you're coming to class to come and share the knowledge you have gotten from the reading. And I think that was a cultural shock, because the first day of class, they were like, oh, read this material before you come to class. I was like, okay, I'll read. I didn't read everything sincerely. I was like, I didn't not supposed to teach you. Why am I here? I came to class and I was dumbfounded because everybody was speaking. Oh, this material was saying this. I kind of agree with the author, but I think the author is outdated. Oh, I was like, where are you people getting all this thing from? I thought it's just I'll come to class with my biro and pen, because guess what? I bought biro and pen from Nigeria when I was coming, thinking it's just going to be the normal. Come to class, they are writing on the board, you are writing. It's not like that. It is not like it's like, waiting be this, send me. I was confused for like a couple of weeks, because I was like, this is not what I'm used to. This is not what I'm used to. I was thinking, oh, I'm going to come and they will teach me and I will write notes, but guess what? People were using their laptop to be typing. I say, I know sabi type, I know sabi type. Like, lecturer is talking and people are doing, I'm like, no, wow, that's all that they do for you. It was a shock. I was like, oh my God. And I think the third shocker I would say is in the academic setting is the fact that you have to meet your deadlines for your assignments. Yes, there can be extreme cases of maybe you're sick or and things like that. You can ask for extension, but you cannot not submit your assignment when it's due. You will fail, and nobody cares. You will fail, and you will fail. So I was like, do people used to give grace? Like, people don't know that I'm a newcomer. Like, you have to meet deadlines. There's nothing like, excuse me, sir, you cannot what? You go home. I don't mean it that way, but like, it was a shocker for me, because I was like, why people giving me assignment every week and you expect me to meet it? That's your responsibility. That is why you are here. You are here to study, or you go back home. Choose one. So that was like the academic shock. And I think another academic shock that was for me was the fact that you could call your faculty, your lecturer. We call them faculty here, no lecturer. You could call your faculty by their first name. I was shocked. I said, from where I'm coming from, respect is a big deal. The way now I will say Mr. I will not call Izu by his name, or even if I want to call him, I will say Brother Izu or Dr. Izu. Do you understand? But you can call your faculty by their first name, like, oh, excuse me, Mr. Bright. Like, I'm like, from where I'm coming from, you call somebody by their first name, you will go home. They will do village meeting on your head. But it was so interesting to see that I could call faculty, like, oh, Dr. Anima, good morning. I call them, obviously they are young people, but they are older people in my faculty. Like, I mean old, I don't mean like 90, I mean they're like in their mid-30s or 40s or 50s. But most of them are married, they have kids, and you're calling them by their first name. It was a big shock, cultural shock for me. I was like, So that was it academically and things like that. But culturally, I think the thing about, it was a cultural shock for me is how lonely this place can be. Trust me, it can be very lonely. It was, how community is in most African country. Even your neighbor, you go to shout, hey, how far are you there from it? You don't do that here. Nobody. No, but I was like, you can have a neighbor and you will never speak to the person. The highest they can do is, and that's it. Like, it was a culture. Like, for a few weeks, I was like, when I know they talk for this place, did they close people's mouths? Everybody's really minding their business. It was a culture shock for me because I'm coming from an environment where, we are, even if you don't know the person's name, you see the person, hey, I'm fine, you there, how you do, things like that. But yeah, everybody's just like, and they move. They just give you that 1 second smile, like, and they go. I'm like, that's all I do for here. So it was a big cultural shock. And I think, one cultural shock I forgot to mention is the fact that as a graduate student, you are working and schooling at the same time. I didn't have an experience working and schooling at the same time. It was very difficult initially. There are times I will literally cry because I felt this was stressful because, I went to undergrad, I didn't work, I didn't have a full-time job, and I was going to school at the same time. So balancing my graduate assistant position and balancing my academics was really very tough in the first few months of coming to the US, and it was really very challenging. I was like, I thought I would just come here and be reading. I want to give out this disclaimer. Scholarship is not free money. When people say they get full funding to come to the US, it's not free money. It's not like, I know there are certain fellowships that don't allow you to do those work. Like, and when I mean work within the student environment, maybe like graduate assistant, teaching assistant, research assistant, as the case may be. So it's not free money. So you have to work. And as a student, you are permitted to work 20 hours a week. So it's more or less like, quote unquote, you're a full-time worker and you're going to school at the same time. So combining that was actually a cultural shock. I was like, where I'm coming from, I know people go to school and work full time, but as a young person, I didn't do that when I was in undergrad. So it was a shocker for me. Yes. So back to social, the community here was very lonely. Finding people that you could interact with was really very, yes, I found a Nigerian community, but even within the Nigerian community, it's still very lonely because everybody is busy. So this place is a very busy place. Like, life is moving fast. So you have to learn to be your own person, meaning you can stay with yourself without talking for people for days or for weeks and you'll be fine. You need to learn that. If not, you will be depressed. So when people say, oh, I'm depressed, that is the reason. Because you can go for weeks. Nobody will call you. Except maybe your family will call you. But I mean, like, people here, nobody's going to call you. So I think that was also a very cultural shock. I'm coming from a place that, Saturdays, we have weddings, we have places to go, we have people to see. But here it's not like that. And it's very, building a community here takes time. So you have to have really integrated. Even being in the US for 2 years now, I'm still even trying to build community. Like, yesterday was Valentine. I was actually at home all through doing assignment and working. I didn't step out of my house, not even to see the sun or to see the snow that was falling yesterday. I didn't come out yesterday. Very, very busy. Everybody's minding their own business. So I think that these are like the cultural shock and there are a lot, but I just want to keep it this short.
Okay, thank you so much for a lot of things. Yesterday, like you said, was Valentine. over here where we are, the restaurants were filled up with a lot of people. Everywhere was so busy. There was a lot of party happening here and there. Unlike what you just said, where you are. So I can imagine the adjustment of you have to do over there. So I received some few questions, and I'm going to be asking that. For those that just joined us, we're taking questions now. And I think some of the questions I've received are based on people connecting and reaching out to you. So that's basically, that will be just to wrap up the segment, and we are done. So thank you so much, Chidi, for that feedback. So I want to finally, before I say maybe finally, can you tell us how has this shaped your life since you've been there now? Like you said, this is your second year. How has it shaped your life so much? Looking at where you are coming from now to where you are, how has it made you? How has it formed you? And where do you think it will take you at the long run? And I said something crucial. Scholarship is not free money. That's a powerful statement. So tell us more with all of these things so that we wrap it up and take one question and two, and we are done. Thank you.
Okay, let me answer the second one, which I said scholarship is not free money. So scholarship is, I know people say, well, scholarship, but scholarship basically is your tuition is being covered, one, but you have to work in exchange for that. I don't know if that is clear. So I'm giving you a scholarship. Yes, you're not paying for the scholarship. I'm even still paying you stipend. So stipend is like salary. Let me use the word everybody knows, salary. So it's called stipend here, but from wherever you're coming from, you know it as salary. But I'm giving you all that, but in exchange for you to do a certain work for a period of time, so which is 20 hours every week. So the US law says that as an international student, you can't work more than 20 hours a week. So 20 hours can be, most of the time, 20 hours are always on-campus job. So you either become a teaching assistant, meaning that you're assigned to a professor and you're teaching a class. That is teaching assistant. Then there is research assistant. You're doing research, especially for those in the sciences. This is even more like pronounced in the sciences. So you're like a research assistant. So you're helping with the lab, or you're helping them do research, or maybe they have a paper they are working on. You're helping them with research. Basically, that's what it means. Then there's the other kind of assistantship, which is graduate assistantship, which is what I'm doing. So a lot of time, graduate assistants work with centers or offices on campus. So I work with the Women's Center, which is an identity and inclusion center on campus. So that is where I work on campus, and it's just for 20 hours, meaning that you cannot exceed 20 hours. And that is why if I backtrack when I say things like when students that come with loan, because of that restriction of 20 hours a week, you can't earn so much money from any on-campus job that will help you. You can only use the money to pay for your basic needs like house rent and things like that. Just basic things, food, groceries, water bill, things in that area. You can't really get substantial money that would help you for that. So that's why I said scholarship is not free money. It's an exchange for working hours. But the working hours obviously is also building you, because it's like I said, it's more or less like a full-time job. So the only difference is a normal full-time job in the US is like 40 hours. But as a student, you're just meant to work 20 hours, which would actually give you all that time to focus on your studies, because the end goal is that you focus on your studies. So back to your first question. Well, it has really changed me. I would say I have really changed in different ways. Mentally, emotionally, socially, physically, you can name it. Because I think coming into a country like the US, which is different from where I grew up, I lived almost 20-something years, the first 20-something years of my life before coming here. It has definitely changed my perspective about a lot of things. It has made me see the world in a different light. You think you know so much till you come here and you begin to see a lot of cultural shocks, which you have to adjust. You don't have any option that to adjust. For example, I am an extrovert. And I love to go out. I love to hang out. I love to go for events. You know, like, when I was back in Nigeria, I always want to like, oh, I want to go for this event. But here you need to learn to be your own entertainer and everything. So it has made me to learn how to live independent. Like, you have to be, yes, I've always learned how to be independent. When I was in undergrad, I was away from home for like 5 years. So I've lived independent. But here, you have to, it will make you know how to live independently, meaning that you have to learn time management, managing your time, because you have time for school, you have time for work, you have time for assignments, you have time to do your personal things. You will have time when you're supposed to go for grocery. I go for grocery store once in a month. That is how intentional, because I don't have that time to be gallivanting about and be doing in my Bible, you know who we are, and all things like you don't have that time. So you learn time management like very well. You don't even have a choice, because the truth is you don't even have time. So the one you have to manage it well. Things like that. So that also made me to it has also changed me mentally. So I have learned new things. I have been able to adjust to new things. It has changed my perspective about my views of life before coming here. Not everything in total, but some things have changed. For example, things like calling people by their first name, which, before now I will say that, me, I'm a very respectful person. If I want to call someone, I say, good morning, uncle, good morning, auntie. It does not work here. So learning things like that, like even things like sorry. You know how people, maybe someone's walking and you just do, hey, and you say, hey, sorry. They're like, sorry for what? I was like, it fell down. It's not your fault, so don't tell me sorry. I was like, That's all I do for you. Things like, if nobody, like, you're passing, I want to say, sorry, excuse me. Like, sorry, for example, it's not a word people put you around here. It has to be something really critical. Like, for example, maybe I jam your car and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Things like that. But no, someone, if you want to pass and someone is saying like, sorry, excuse me, don't do that here. It is, so it's just a lot, and things like that. And obviously financially, I have really learned to be very prudent with my spending. I've always been a prudent person, but right now I prioritize my finances. I know where my money is going to. I know what I spend my money on. I cannot just be passing and I see burger and I buy. You're going to be broke because you're still a student. Your stipend is just, an allowance to help you live every month, because here we pay bills every month. So you cannot be eating everything you want like that. So yeah, it has really changed me. It has changed my perspective of life, socially, emotionally. I've grown emotionally. Like, when I mean emotionally, meaning that I have come to understand that life is busy and you catch up with people based on appointment or based on maybe special occasions. So if people don't talk to you for a week, a month, it doesn't mean you guys are having issue. It just means that they are doing their thing wherever they are. I'm doing my thing wherever I am. Whenever we have time to, I have friends that I only talk to them during the long vacation, because during school time everybody's busy. And it doesn't mean, if it's Nigeria, you say the person is keeping beef with you, or the person hates you, or the person doesn't want to talk. Everybody's busy with their life. So you need to learn how to be contented with yourself first, and build that space within you. So there are a lot of benefit of living here. You have to learn discipline, resilience. You cannot give up in this place. If you give up, you go home. Their challenges are going to come. Situations are going to throw you off balance, but you have to be resilient and be like, I'm here. We go nowhere. We are here. We're going to make sure we abide by the laws. We do things we need to do in the rightful way. And also, I've also learned one thing: to ask questions. Trust me, people are ready to give you the information you need if you ask questions. And I guarantee you, people are ready to help you if only you can ask the right questions. I know they say this this language, say, whoever is asking for, like you ask question, you will never miss your route, things like that. So asking question is really very essential, because I used to be somebody that I can figure it out by myself, but it's a lie. You cannot figure everything out by yourself, because first of all, this is not your country, so there are a lot of things you don't know. There are systems and structures and policies you don't know. You're still very new here. You need to ask questions, either ask the right authority or ask people that have been here longer, or even ask citizens of this country, and they will help you. So yeah, just a lot of benefit, but I just feel like these are the things that have really helped me adapt and growing and thriving here very well.
Thank you so much, Chidi. That was profound. Thank you so much. So now just quickly take the questions because of our time. We've run out of time. Simple question. Okay, someone is saying, what is your YouTube channel? So just take note of that. You can call it out so that they can find you there and follow you. This person is asking in regard for the mock interview group as well. And so they can contact you there for the mock interview group. So your YouTube channel, and can you also provide visa interview transcripts that is made use of so that they can also use it to draft out theirs. So please take note of this. They're requesting for your YouTube channel so that they can find you and also follow you there, because I know you mentioned that. And then if you can just stop that question. Can you answer that quickly? Maybe just call it out so that they can take note of that. Yeah.
I think I type it out in the comment section, the chat. Yeah, real talk. Yeah, so that is it. But at the same time, that is my YouTube channel, Real Talk with Barbados. I do a lot of, and apart from my channel, if there are specific questions you're asking me and I've not done video on that, or I don't have the right answer for you, I can always refer you. I have a lot of other friends that are doing amazing things on YouTube that can give you the information. And on my page on YouTube, my email is there. You can always shoot me an email anytime. I receive emails almost every week, like, oh, please, can you help me with this, or can you, things in that regard. So yeah, that's my YouTube page and information. My email is there, so you can always reach out to me, shoot me an email. I will always reply as soon as I can. Yeah, I think that's that I can always push you to other YouTubers are doing. I have friends that are doing amazing things. So please subscribe to my channel when videos come up. But I think the videos on there now can help you for a start. I think there's some questions here, and I think I want to answer it quickly before. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So someone asked about the website for schools in the US. Yeah. So for like the ranking, so it's a website. It's called US News, usnews.com. So you can just type US. You can always type usnews.com, and I'm typing that in the comment section for the person that asks to search schools. So to get the ranking of schools, just go type US News, and you can get all the information you need about the ranking of schools. And well, there are a lot of even on the school website, you see their ranking too. Yeah, so I think I've answered one question I have regarding the full funding. What are the most important documents needed when applying for a fully funded scholarship? Well, I think there are a lot of documents needed. First of all, you need your transcript. And the reason I'm saying this first is because a lot of schools have issues with releasing people's transcript, especially after graduation. And I've seen people miss admission opportunities because of transcript. So your transcript is required. Then check if you need to write GRE for your course, and or take English proficiency. But at the same time, for these two requirements, I always advise people to reach out to the graduate coordinator and see if it can be waived for you. For example, I wrote my IELTS, that's the English proficiency. I got a very good score, 8.0 on my first attempt. But guess what, guys? I didn't use it at the end of the day because it was waived for me. If you are from African countries such as Nigeria, Ghana, that are English speaking, a lot of times this English proficiency are really waived. So ask them. But for your GRE, it depends on the faculty, on the school and the department. So please ask. Then other documents that you need your statement of purpose, which actually talks about who you are, your research experience, and what you look forward to do. Then another very, very essential document that you need is letter of recommendation. And I always advise people, please build, if you are still in school, please build relationship with your faculty, your lecturers. They are the ones that will write recommendation letter for you. I know people now that are struggling to get recommendation letter because when they were in school, they didn't have any relationship with any faculty. So please build relationship with faculty because they are the ones that can attest to your ability to go to school and excel. So recommendation letter is very, very, very essential. Then writing samples can be anything. And for me, during my time, I use my undergraduate project. So if you've done undergraduate, you can use your undergraduate project as your writing sample. But writing sample basically is just to attest that you can do research, you have a good writing skills, and you have good analytical skills. So these are the documents. Then there's some departments or schools that ask for specific questions such as personal statement, diversity statement, or things like that. But those ones are other things you can navigate. But these major things such as recommendation letter, statement of purpose, writing sample, and transcript are very essential for you to get fully funded scholarship. And like I always said, make sure you ask on time before applying to be sure that they give full funding to international students. Then the second question is, how can an applicant make their personal statement of motivational letter stand out? Well, trust me, a lot goes into that. This is not something I can answer here, but you can always reach out to me and we can talk about that. How can someone improve their chances if they have a low CGPA? I've gotten this question a lot of times. One way to actually improve your to balance for your CGPA is to have other experiences such as volunteering experience, community involvement experience, or work experience, or certifications that can help boost your CGPA. And always make sure to state reason why you had a low CGPA, either because of financial issues or family issues or health issues that made you had a low CGPA. However, you are making up for that low CGPA with this other experience such as work experience, such as publications, maybe publishing an article or writing an article or things like that. So these are other ways to actually, I've seen people with 2 to even third class get fully funded scholarship in the US. So your case is not an exemption, you can get it. So are there specific scholarships that focus on leadership, community service, and extracurricular activities? Well, they are not specific scholarships for that, but they are things that enable you get full scholarship, such as your leadership position, involvement in community service, and extracurricular activities. So yes. So next question, can a humanities student change to a tech course for masters? Absolutely yes. And I've seen people do that a lot of times. The only thing you need to do is to show that you have workings. And when I mean workings, meaning that, oh, I studied history and international studies, for example, in my undergrad. But over 3 years, I have built these technical skills. I have worked with this technical company as a product manager, as this and that. I have certification. People switch from art to science, from science to art, vice versa. The only thing you need to make sure is you have experience that can back up for those lack that you didn't have in your undergraduate. So yes, you can switch to anything. You just need to have more experience, more certification courses if they are needed to actually switch. So yes, people switch. Even me, I switch from history to another thing. So it's like that. So yes. Yeah, I think someone already answered the question. Yes, you need to prove that. Have you applied for PhD also? So yes, I'm looking forward to going for my PhD very soon. So yeah, so that is it. Yes. What is your experience in PhD also? Well, I would say the experience for master's and PhD program is the same thing. It's just that PhD is more intensive. So they expect, there's a lot of expectation for PhD application than master's. Masters, they can overlook some certain things, but for a PhD, it has to be good. It has to be good. Like if it's not good, it's not good. If it's good, it's good. Masters can be overlooked. So for PhD, there's a lot of things that go into it. If you can have publications before applying, reach out, make sure you do it, because PhD is more research intensive than even master's level. So yeah, so that is my experience. But they're all the same process, but more intensity when it comes to a PhD. I joined late. What is your advice for those who are relying on Empower loans for studying in the US? Well, like I said, loans are people use it. And I think reaching out to the organization that is hosting this is also a very good way to know more about loans, because they are really good at loans. They have more experience than I do. So please reach out to them, reach out to Izuchukwu, the link that you use to register, reach out to them and they'll give you all the information that you need about loans. And trust me, like I said, loans are possible. You just need the right information to get it right in your visa interview.
Sorry, we may not take all the questions because of our time. We really lost our time. Yes, we may not take all the questions. So please, if you have a question, just reach out to our website, www.edextra.com/loan. You'll reach us there. We'll be awesome, and we'll leave you with every details. We'll be taking more of our time. So please reach out to us, and we'll be gladly able to take all your questions. And of course, she has left us with our details. You can always reach out to her on our YouTube page. So please connect to her on our YouTube page. We talk Baba so you can connect her on YouTube. Leave her a message there. She'll be willing to respond. Watch our videos as well. So today's conversation has been really great. Thank you so much, Chidi, for sharing this experience.
Thank you.
Love to have more time with you, but unfortunately, we've taken a lot of our time. And thank you so much for really sharing this experience with us. So for everyone from us here at After School Africa, edextra.com, we want to thank you for your time, and we hope the next segment is going to be a great one. So sincere appreciation to everyone that joined. Thank you, thank you. So please go back to our YouTube page and watch this video. It's going to be great. Chidi, any last word I think you want to say last word before we leave now?
Well, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity, and I just want to let you know that your dream of coming to the US is very valid, and it's very, very, very possible. I've done it. A lot of my friends have done it. A lot of my classmates are here in the US in different cities. Just know that your coming to the US is very possible. You just need to get the right information and the right source. And I can't wait to see you in the US next year. I know the admission for this year is already over. So from those that want to come from 2026, please start right now and begin to get things done. I wish you guys all the best. Please reach out, follow me on my YouTube page, send me an email, send the organization an email, and we will definitely be willing to answer your questions. So thank you so much, guys, for the time. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So on this note, to say thank you all. Have a great night and have a great morning wherever, any part of the world. Have a great day, and God bless you. Bye now.